As some of y'all may know, Cyberpunk 2077 is set to release on December 10th, 2020, as of now, unless there's more delays. And they have a pretty extensive soundtrack. But today, they released one of the songs from Run the Jewels. This track is titled No Save Point, and features a lot of Cyberpunk references. So let's go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. First things first, the lyrics page wasn't super updated, so I went through and did my best to kind of verify. So it might be a little bit off. Just saying that right now. Secondly, I guess you guys need a little bit of backstory on Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk as a genre is basically a dystopian future sort of idea. Basically, everyone in the future has become somewhat cybernetic, so people are starting to implement different technologies into their bodies, whether that just be metal arms, specialized that lets you see through like smoke or their infrared, shoes that make you have roller skates on them, stuff like that. But this whole idea and this genre kind of has been around for a minute, and then the idea of it really flourished in the 80s from Michael Pondsmith. He's also kind of the creator of the tabletop game Cyberpunk. The tabletop game is very similar to how Dungeons & Dragons is played, with obvious modifications. It's a little bit complicated to explain that, but there have been multiple variations. The original Cyberpunk, then V3, then Cyberpunk 2020, and I think the latest tabletop version is Cyberpunk Red. Anyways, a lot of his ideas and gameplay sort of things made it into the game, so it is important to reference him. Anyways, let's just go into the track now. Obviously, it has an intro where they're just yelling RTJ, Archie motherfucking J. And then we get a verse from LP. I swallow all my drugs until the pain is unplugged. When the laws of entropy talks, you better dread the judge. Wiser men than us been crushed to fine dust. When the fortune cookie tells me I'm fucked, I just shrug. He swallows all the drugs. In Cyberpunk, drugs are very common. A lot of people are just constantly on drugs, and it's just commonplace. So he could be talking about his place in Cyberpunk or in real life. But I'm thinking he's going more for the Cyberpunk route. The laws of entropy, meaning laws of chaos. You better dread the judge, meaning watch out for Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd was also kind of Cyberpunk influence too, so that makes sense there. A note like a broken electrical pulse, some for the done, for the scum of the circuitry on the run. Haven't seen the sun with a naked eye much, so the neon is my god and it shine on the numb. A note, meaning a musical note of sorts, or like a frequency. Like a broken electrical pulse. So like when you hear like fluorescent lights kind of making that humming noise, that's kind of the noise that he's referring to. He hasn't seen the sun very much, which makes sense because in this cyberpunk realm, everything is very, very neon and artificially lit. Which is also why he's saying, so the neon is my god. And it shine on the numb. So yeah, I mean, the neon is all he sees. The neon is his god. In Cyberpunk, this sort of neon and, like neon is very important to them. Mostly in terms of fashion. Because Cyberpunk is very fashion focused as well. Aside from the cybernetics part, you could say. Hop off the bike, gun cocked, okay, ready. Work ain't been too steady, I'm heading for something heavy. If you got the credits, I'll pull the crime of the century. Morality is only a memory, but the belly's empty. Hop off the bike, his gun is ready. In Cyberpunk, a lot of people are mercenaries. So people like, I think, nomads and not necessarily fixers. Fixers are the ones that kind of look out for things. I don't remember the other classes now. But there are people who on the streets, which I believe are fixers, who are the ones that are like, okay, here's a job for you. Not necessarily runners, maybe runners, but that's getting too into it. But anyways, he's saying, like, people put out hits all the time in Cyberpunk in that sort of realm, so it is expected for that sort of thing to happen. Like, dude's gonna be on his bike, hop off, gun ready already. And he's talking about this person who hired him, I guess. He's like, if you got the credits, if you got the money, I'll pull this crime of the century. I'll do whatever you need me to do. Because money talks, especially in Cyberpunk. Morality is only a memory, but belly's empty. Again, in Cyberpunk, morality is just kind of thrown out the window. Whether that be just the nature of people there or the effects of your cybernetics. Because once you have too many cybernetics, you eventually lose your humanity, which in turn can cloud your morality and probably get rid of it entirely. When you have too many cybernetics, you gain, I guess, what is called cyberpsychosis, which basically makes you go crazy and start killing humans because you think you are a robot yourself. But he's gonna do whatever you need him to do because his belly is empty and he needs the money. Swine that they hide behind, focus on taking mine. Get in line, swine, you won't deny my piece of pie. Any fucker in this broke future that they design, don't comply, I'll supply your deletion, the end is nigh. Him saying swine here is not talking about police. Police in Cyberpunk is interesting too, like, because everything is run basically by these mega corporations. So each one of these mega corporations have their own police force, essentially. So I don't think he's necessarily talking about police here, because in my mind, police are kind of an afterthought in Cyberpunk. He's probably just talking about some dude that he's calling a pig. Like, nothing else. But it could also be, because he's saying swine that they hide behind, he could be talking about the megacorps or the person that he's going after. He's hiding behind his security or his police. And those police are basically stopping him from getting what he needs. He's like, and he's trying to convince those security people, like, yo, get out of my way. You're not going to deny me my piece of pie. Like, I need to do this. And then anyone in this broke future that they designed, they don't comply, he's going to shoot you. He's going to delete you. Your end is nigh. This future he's saying it's broke because it's kind of dystopian and somewhat apocalyptic. Like, if you've watched any of the trailers for Cyberpunk, it's very dystopian. It's very reminiscent of Blade Runner, let's say. Like, if you have watched Blade Runner, you kind of have an idea of Cyberpunk. There are going to be areas of just wasteland, kind of like Mad Max. And then there's going to be Night City, which is this giant area in California now, which has all the neon lights and everything. This then goes into the bridge/hook where they just go, hey, hey, nothing crazy. And then Killer Mike's verse. And like I mentioned, the lyrics for this weren't fully complete at the time, so I just kind of went in and tried to fix it. LP's verse should be correct because that's what he posted on Twitter though. Anyways, Killer Mike's verse. I used to pray to God, but I think he took a vacation because now the state of Cali is run by these corporations. These skyscrapers shadow the homeless, the population. The degradation they face, it should be an abomination. In this time, he used to pray to God, but he thinks he took a vacation because this is a dystopian future. Again, it is very apocalyptic. Like, God in Cyberpunk really is definitely an afterthought. Like, no one considers that. I mean, there are people, but it's different, let's say. Because now the state of Cali is run by these corporations. Like I mentioned, these mega corporations like Arasaka or Militech, or I forget the other ones now. But those are the main ones, at least. And the state of Cali is run by these corporations because Night City is the majority of California. Like, I believe it goes through most of Northern California down to like Monterey. So, pretty significant. But yeah, like, it's all just run by these corporations. And then, yeah, there's skyscrapers that are shadowing the homeless and the population's being degraded. Which is kind of a thing that's happening in general, like you could say. Like, it's not necessarily just talking about Cyberpunk. Like, obviously it's very accentuated in Cyberpunk because this is kind of where we thought the future was going to go. Like, this was one possible outcome. And there are a lot of parallels. And that was kind of the point at the time too. Like, it was more of a commentary on, like, real world events and real world life stuff, like, as the future approached, you could say. The body parts are stolen and sold to the richest patient, and we, the mercenaries at war with the active age. The legislators that work for Satan, they cure the babies. The guy hit the back of a bullet, blood on Mercedes. Their body parts are stolen. So, to kind of remedy cyberpsychosis, their body parts are stolen. Basically, to give the person a more human body part. It's also just done for testing purposes, or just the same shit that people will be stealing body parts for now. Like, you go to a dark alley, your kidney might get stolen, just like in real life. But yeah, like, it's like, yo, your body parts are just gonna straight up get stolen. And not even necessarily your actual body parts, like your cybernetic body parts. Because, I mean, one, not everyone has cybernetics, but two, they're very expensive. So if you have a very flashy cybernetic, such as Johnny Silverhand's arm, you're gonna, people are gonna come after you. And they are the mercenaries at war with the active age, so they are at war with what's going on currently. And the legislators that work for Satan, meaning the people who run these mega corporations. Just to serve, murdered them, and that's your fur. They pump the and my brain exit the That's righteous, huh? Slapping palm, holding the bar. Keanu Reeves, cyber arm under my sleeve. This is where it got a little confusing. Just to serve also could be justice served. Murder them, and that's your fur. So he is, it could really just be either one. So justice served, meaning Mike served justice and killed this dude, or he's doing this just to serve. He could be working for someone and he is doing this to serve them. Or he's talking about the people who are just around. They're not really part of it necessarily, but they're just there serving. But anyways, the justice is served, he murdered them, and that's your fur. Your fur meaning either, now you got the money to buy a fur, or you're the one that did it, and your people saw you do it. So now you might get got after. The next line, honestly, I don't know what he was trying to say there. But it sounds like they pumped the meaning like they pumped the gun, and my brain exit the back of my head. I don't know. That one was a little bit confusing. Keanu Reeves, cyber arm under my sleeve. Keanu Reeves is Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk 2077, and Johnny Silverhand has a cybernetic arm, which is silver. That's just in reference to Keanu Reeves. That's all. That's all it is. But Johnny Silverhand's a big deal too. I blast them all, watch them fall like autumn leaves. Damn it, I can't leave. Night City keeps calling me. God damn it, I'm a G, and this fuck shit is all it needs. Like a fucking bitch, but this bitch ain't divorcing me. Him holding a bar actually might just be him holding a gun, because, when he says, cyber armor under my sleeve, I blast them all, watch them fall like autumn leaves. So people are coming after him going for his target, so he blasts them all, and they all fall like leaves in autumn. And then he tries to leave, but he can't because Night City keeps calling him, whether that be for work or for his just enjoyment. Like, he can't leave Night City. And then, goddammit, I'm a G, and this fuck shit is all it needs. Life a fucking bitch, but this bitch ain't divorcing me. That was funny. So, life's a bitch, but it ain't divorcing him, meaning they're not gonna split. Like, he ain't dying. Like, he's gonna stay alive. Anyways, this then goes into a pretty long beat break, which is cool. And that's about it. This song is really fun, and I'm honestly not surprised that CD Projekt Red tapped into Run the Jewels for this track, because Run the Jewels fits very well with this sort of cyberpunk theme. Like, whether it be LP's off-the-wall beats or just their content. Because, like I mentioned, cyberpunk is very kind of a fuck the system sort of thing. Like, obviously there's those mega corporations that run everything, but the majority of people just are not for it. Like, the majority of people are like, no, fuck you, megacorps. We're not doing that. So, it's very anti-establishment, which is also just kind of funny because Run the Jewels is doing all these things, which, I mean, they're saying they're very anti-establishment, but they're also working with a lot of things that are establishment sort of things. Like, it's kind of weird, but it works. I don't really care. Like, I know people are going to be complaining that, oh, they shouldn't have worked with Cyberpunk because they're doing all this this crunch at the end of, like, trying to get the game released, but that's fine. I'm just talking about the music. Like, I mean, it's not fine to do crunch, but regardless, I'm just talking about the music part. Anyways, this track was dope. There are good references to Cyberpunk. It's like they got a crash course on the game, or we got to see some of it, or we got a basic summary. So it's not like a random song that's just kind of thrown in there. Like, there are legitimate things that they're saying in here that correlate to things in Cyberpunk. So that's awesome. Anyways, I'm sure there are things I missed, so let me know in the comments below if I missed anything or misinterpreted anything. Also, I apologize if I got a little bit too nerdy on this. This is the second time this week where I was able to just be a nerd on this channel, so I let it happen. Anyways, like I said, let me know if I missed anything in the comments below or misinterpreted anything. Or also, if you guys have a better kind of write-up for Kill 'Em Rex Verse, also drop that in the comments because I don't know what he was saying. Anyways, like and subscribe if you want to see more breakdowns and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.